Congratulations to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He just won an MVP as of last night, or I guess yesterday morning, because Shams, for whatever reason, tweeted it out at 7:30 a.m. when it should have been announced, I think, on Prime. I think he accidentally set his Twitter to AM instead of PM because it was supposed to be announced at 7:30 p.m., and then it was announced at 7:30 a.m. But whatever, shout out to SGA. Back-to-back MVPs, put him into elite conversations. Only 14 players have won back-to-back MVPs. And I was actually looking at how many players have won MVP all time? So the award, the MVP award inception was 1955. So when it was announced, there has been 71 MVP awards handed out, but there's only been 36 players to ever get this award. So being an MVP on its own is already such a high reward. So you look at people like James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and you're like, oh my God, they're one of only 36 players of all time to ever play the NBA all time. How many players have played since 1955? Probably too many to even count. And only 36 players have won the award. So to put that into perspective, that's crazy. But shout out to SGA. I guess the big question, well, the first question is SGA now the best Oklahoma City Thunder of all time? There was a debate last year after he won MVP and won a ring. The answer is now undoubtedly, undebatably, yes. He's two-time MVP, a one-time NBA championship, brought the only championship to OKC, and has a chance. He's in the Western Conference Finals to do it again. Two-time MVP, two-time NBA champ. If that happens, it's already, like, without a question. The second question is, does Shai deserve MVP this year? Okay, and I'm not saying he did it or didn't. Okay, I'm just here to have the conversation. Maybe play a little bit of devil's advocate because I have a name I'm going to throw in here that people are going to hate. People are going to shit on me in the comments about it. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay. So I think, honestly, the five names are the big four names that were brought up is Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Wemby. Okay, I think Wemby we could leave out of it. I know people were saying Wemby could win MVP. He won Defensive Player of the Year without a doubt, blew it out the water. But they were saying, so some people were saying he could win MVP, but I think, this season, he had an injury, then he had to come off the bench for a while. He'll have his time, okay? If he wins against the OKC Thunder, he could win Western Conference MVP. Our Western Conference Finals MVP, but he'll have his time, okay? I think, Defensive Player of the Year next year, he could win an MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. That would be pretty insane, but he's got time. The other name that I think I'm going to throw out of the conversation is Luka, okay? I know he averaged like 33, 8, and 7. He had a great year. He's scoring leader this year, if I'm not mistaken. Great year, fantastic year. But I think if we're talking about most valuable player, he had some other great players on that team, okay? And that's not to say that Shai or Jokic or any of these other guys didn't, but I think I'm going to push Luka to the side. If you're upset about that, I understand. Luka, he did lead the league in scoring. He did have great stats. I think the three-way race would have been Jokic, Shai, and Luka, but I'm going to throw a name in here. And I'll talk about it later because I already know I'm going to get flamed in the comments for it. So, obviously, Jokic and Shai were probably the two neck-and-neck players. Shai averaged 31, 4, and 6.5. Jokic averaged a triple-double. A crazy triple-double, by the way. 27, almost 28 points, 13 rebounds, and almost 11 assists as a center. That's crazy. I think people really forget how crazy that is because Jokic has been doing it for so long. And you remember when Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double and people were losing their mind? They were going bonkers like, oh my God, Russell Westbrook. We haven't had a person average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson. And now Jokic is doing it every single year. Every single year he's doing it. And I think people kind of overlook it. I don't feel like I'm wrong to say that. He averages a triple-double and people are like, whatever. It's Nikola. He does this, This is what he does. He's a great basketball player. And then Shai, 31 points. 4 rebounds and 6.5 assists. Shout out to him. So both great players, both fantastic players. And another name I'm gonna throw in there. I'm gonna throw in Jaylen Brown as an MVP. Now I know people are clicking off this. Jaylen Brown, get the fuck out of here. And the reason I'm putting him in here is because I think a lot of people have a different meaning or a different definition of most valuable player. Okay, I think a lot of the time it's just given to the best player in the league. I think there should be a different award for best player and most valuable player to their team. Because I think if that's the conversation, I think Jaylen Brown is 100% up there to be one of the most valuable players to his team. It's kind of like the NFL a little bit. They kind of just give the award to the quarterback of the best team in the league. Well, they gave it to Matthew Stafford this season, which they kind of did it right. I think Matthew Stafford 100% deserved it. But it's kind of like we just give it to the best player in the league. And I think Jaylen Brown was on a team that was supposed to be lottery. It was supposed to. The Celtics lost pieces. That Jason Tatum goes down, with an ACL tear. Like he's not expected to come back at all this season. Miraculously, he did come back, but Jaylen Brown led that team to a second seed in the Eastern Conference when they were supposed to be a lottery team. A lot of people were saying they weren't going to make the playoffs. This should have been a down year. This should have been a year that the Celtics were just trying to figure things out, maybe get a lottery pick so they get another piece with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown next year. This was supposed to be their down year. And somehow Jaylen Brown, with the year that he had, averaging 29, 7, and 5, was, I mean, how is that not being a more valuable player to the team? Now, a metric I like to look at is what did the team do when you weren't playing, okay? Jokic, the Nuggets were 11-6 without Nikola, 11-6. That's probably their best record that they've had since Nikola has joined the team. 11-6 is actually pretty good. The Thunder were 8-6 without Shai, but the Celtics, they were 6-1 without Jaylen Brown, and that's before Tatum came back because there was some games that he missed. I think there was like 3 or 4 games that he missed after Jason Tatum came back, but they were 6-1 without Jaylen Brown. And I use that metric, but, I understand people that don't use that metric because it also depends on what opponents you were playing during that time, and you'd have to go deeper and deeper into that stat. But yeah, Thunder were 8-6, so percentage-wise, it looks like off of that metric, Shai is the more valuable player to his team. See, I think Jaylen Brown was in MVP conversations like mid-season. You know what I mean? And then they kind of went away the more that Shai and Nikola Jokic kind of just pulled away. I do think Shai, I mean, come on, bro. I mean, Shai, we're talking about a guy that was drafted by my Charlotte Hornets, traded to the Los Angeles Clippers on draft night for Miles Bridges. Never forget that. Had his rookie year with the Clippers and then got traded for that Paul George package, and then had a decent year. And Chris Paul, had mentored him, great mentor. And then now is a 2-time MVP. Isn't that crazy? A guy that I don't think he ever expected to be in this, or maybe he did. I'm not going to speak for him, but a guy that nobody else expected SGA to come out of nowhere and be a 2-time MVP. So congratulations to him. If I had to give a vote, though, if it was my vote, who is the most valuable? Jaylen Brown is probably up there, but I'd still give it to Nikola. I mean, would OKC be? I think OKC would still be a playoff team without Shai. They got so much talent. They got J-Dub. They got Chet. They got great bench players. Like, they have a team. I mean, I think Jared McCain would have to step up without Shai. What would the Nuggets be without Jokic, though? I mean, with Aaron Gordon's injury, Jamal Murray, he's good, but he's more of a, I don't even know. I would love to call Jamal Murray a playoff performer, but since 2023, what has Jamal Murray really done in the playoffs? Recency bias, I guess. I'd probably give my vote to Nikola, to be honest. I think Jokic is probably the most valuable player in the league, most valuable player to his team. I think Shai is probably 2, Jaylen Brown 3, but I do think Jaylen Brown should be in this conversation with them. I know Wemby and Luka, people got them over Jaylen Brown, but I would put Jaylen Brown number 3. I don't know how many. Can we look at the MVP votes? MVP voting NBA 2026. I just want to see. Shai won 83 out of 100 first place votes. Nikola had 10 first place votes. So, even Cade Cunningham. See, Cade Cunningham's another name that's super valuable to his team. I mean, that's a great defensive team, but Cade Cunningham's the offensive power to that team, and without Cade being the offensive power, what would the Pistons be? And we saw the Pistons ultimately get absolutely drilled by the Cavaliers last night. I mean, they lost by like 40 points. Luka, I don't think Luka got any first place votes. Victor Wembanyama got 5 first place votes. Interesting. Here it is. We'll look at them. Jaylen Brown got some third place votes. He got 14 fourth place votes, 2 third place votes. Luka didn't get any first. The only first place votes went to Shai with 83, Nikola 10, Victor Wembanyama 5, Cade Cunningham had 2. Kawhi Leonard and Donovan Mitchell both had 1 fifth place vote. That's pretty interesting, actually. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so I mean, y'all let me know in the comments who do you think should have won MVP. I just wanted to, play devil's advocate for the Jaylen Brown and throw out something there. It just really depends how you look at the award. Like, what most valuable to the league? Is that the best player, or is it most valuable to his team? I think Nikola or Jaylen Brown are definitely up there, and that's not to say that Shai isn't, but you guys know what I mean.